Oil show officials are expecting more than 40,000 people to attend this year's show. To put in perspective how many people that is, that's more than the population of Gaines, Andrews, Glasscock, Crane, Terrell, and Brewster counties combined, or enough people to fill Ratliff Stadium twice. Because so many of the district's functions depend on the internet, tomorrow he says things will be a little old school. This drilling rig will begin its journey from West Texas to Africa. Inside these hospital walls, medical staff are still scrambling to help those injured. If you haven't already talked to your teens about suicide, do it tonight. It's the most effective way to prevent it from happening. In the blink of an eye, these veterans found themselves in a situation too familiar. Devastation all around, requiring immediate action. A resident tells me that the mosquito problem out here is worsening, and when he called for help, he received a surprising response. Stay with CBS 7 and CBS7.com for all the developments. Reporting live in Odessa, Robert Guaderama, CBS 7 News.
One family fearing a long prison sentence and the other wanting justice to be served. A day full of tears for those surrounding the case. Despite being found guilty on counts of intoxication, manslaughter, and assault, Joel Tavares is given 10 years probation for killing Jenna Vella and Perry Jeffrey.
He took my son and my daughter-in-law's life. He hurt my grandchildren, and they're going to give him 10 years probation? Come on, that's not right.
I'm shocked. I'm very disappointed in our judicial system because I feel like PJ and Jenna's lives were worth nothing. He's been out of jail this whole time. He hasn't had any punishment. He didn't even have enough manliness in him to get up there and say he was guilty for what he done.
Relatives of the victims say this sends a loud message.
This sends right here that a message that you can get away with killing people. That's what that sends. It's like there's no justice. There's no justice whatsoever. Watch your kids, because if they kill your kids on the street, this is what happens.
Defense attorney Brian Carney.
It's a very tragic case, and the jury listened to all the evidence and came to the conclusion what they thought was appropriate.
When I first heard about this young musician, I underestimated his talent. But today when I met with Ian and his family, I was blown away.
I'm not shy to play drums.
4 years old and jamming out on the drums. Ian Chavez has been hitting the snares since he was in diapers.
He's been playing since he was a baby, like way before he turned a year. He got a little drum for his first birthday, but since he was a baby, he's been interested in the drums.
Ian's mother, Hannah Chavez, says Ian has essentially taught himself by watching the drummer play every Sunday at their church. And Ian, also known as the Little Drummer Boy, is loving his hobby more than ever.
If I can do this,
That's why you love it, right?
I thought it was just, something he just was doing when he was a baby and he would grow out of it. But he didn't. He kept on playing and playing, and so we just let him.
Ian's young career has already landed him performances like this one over the weekend as the headliner halftime show performer for the Allen Wranglers.
Very proud. It was very exciting to see him, down there, and just really proud of him. I can't believe it. I was, that's my little boy playing down there.
And Ian loved being in the spotlight beside his dad.
I wasn't scared, I wasn't crying, but I didn't like the raccoon.
Ian says Rascal the Raccoon got too close for comfort.
I wandered away from the drums and I didn't like that raccoon.
But the show must go on, and the crowd loved every minute. Just one concert with many more to come for this promising young drummer.
Ian's mother tells me her and her husband are enrolling him in private drum lessons and say he has a bright future in music.
21-year-old Chase Dillon of Lubbock went to work on a Robinson drilling rig last year.
He was excited to become his own man.
But his life was cut short during an accident while on the job. His mother, Shannon Hardy, says they heard the terrible news from law enforcement, but 2 weeks later have yet to hear from Robinson Drilling.
The fact that his employer hasn't reached out at all to even give condolences is heart-wrenching to me, because we've had so many people reach out that, I mean, his own employer hasn't even taken the time to say that Chase was worth something. Chase wasn't just a warm body that was working on their rig, that Chase meant something to them. And it breaks my heart that they didn't value him as a person.
Hardy says following her son's death, she began researching the company and found that her son joins a list of fatalities for Robinson. After several messages unanswered, we paid a visit to Robinson Drilling in Big Spring to see if they had anything to say to Chase's family and to see if Hardy's allegations were true.
No comment at all.
But we were turned away. Hardy wants others to learn from her son's death and hopes it shines a spotlight on Robinson Drilling.
If their child or their brother or their husband or their father or anyone wants to work there, to look at the statistics of their company and how many deaths have occurred and how many OSHA violations they violated, and that it's not a safe company. If we can get more awareness of Robinson, maybe no one else will have to be in my shoes.
Sirens, panic, chaos was the scene at Midland Memorial as ambulance after ambulance pulls up to the emergency room, turning around just minutes later to pick up more people injured in this tragic wreck.
As long as I've been here, I haven't seen something to this magnitude.
Medical crews from all over the Permian Basin were called in, and at Midland Memorial, all hands are on deck.
We had an alert issued, like all of our staff showed up ready to work. We have ample staff able to take care of the patients that we have here.
Relatives and loved ones who are in town for the event quickly pulled up, running to the doors of the ER.
They're shaken. We have all the family and friends congregated into a separate area of the hospital away from the emergency department. We've got chaplains on site aiding them with any kind of support they need.
Hospital officials say they have the situation under control and are trained to provide care for a tragedy of this severity.
We do disaster drills often. Several times a year we do drills that mimic scenes like this so that we would be able to handle it when the actual thing happens.
Joining us now live is Dr. Sudeep Bose, who was the only physician on the scene today and was also a part of Hunt for Heroes, actually, where you're going to be going on the trip tomorrow with the war heroes. Now, tell me, when you pulled up to the scene today, what did you feel inside?
I mean, initially pulling up on the scene, it was a pretty chaotic scene. It was a pretty devastating injury, and I think we all worked very well together as a team to take care of the patients. It's been a long day, and it's just devastating. It's tragic. I mean, we bring these veterans here from around the country to honor them in Midland, and for it to end like this is horrible.
Absolutely, and I know you obviously did give some help and some medical aid to those injured today. Go ahead and tell me what that was like.
I mean, obviously some of these were very serious injuries, ranging from minor to serious. I think everyone worked very well together as a team. Even before anyone arrived at the scene, there were other veterans there, and they began tying tourniquets and stopping bleeding just from their prior training. And then after that, the paramedics arrived, so everyone worked very well together as a team.
Absolutely, and of course we'll keep our prayers with those injured, but also keeping our prayers out there for the families and relatives who are here supporting their loved one.
Right, our prayers need to be with Midland right now, and with all the families of the veterans and all the veterans out there who've served.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you very much for your help today.
Thank you.
All right. And of course, we'll continue covering this story, and we'll keep you updated on the conditions of all the patients here at the hospital. Reporting live in Midland, Robert Guaderama, CBS 7 News.